Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kalaye Sundarakaram Sadaika Priyadarshanam Ajnana Nashakam Devam Sadgurum Muralidharam Yasya Smarana Matrena Jikhvayam Vardate Swayam Mahamantra Stambajami Muralidhara Deshikam Premamritam yo Murali Ninadaihi Shri Krishna Rupena Puravavarsha Adyapi Soyam Muralidharakyo Pushnati Premna Bhuvanam Saharsham Sankirtite Mahamantre Tatra Virbhuya Takshanam Suprasanno Bhavedyastam Premika Varadam Bhaje Murali Mandita Karakamalam Munijana Mohanam Vyatyastapadam Vanamala Darinam Prema Bhakta Mandala Nitya Kirtitam Premika Varadam Ashrayeham Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanaha Tam Namami Harim Param Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Sadguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. Prostrations at the holy feet of Bhagwan and Sri Swamiji, by whose boundless grace I've been blessed with this wonderful opportunity to do this satsang. Greetings friends, namaste. It's a delight to join you all in this session of Answers and Beyond. I thank you for taking the time and effort to join this satsang. Continuing with what we have been doing all along, we'll take up another question that a friend has sent us regarding chanting the divine names, Nama Sankirtan. I find that chanting the divine names of God to be a very repetitive, monotonous exercise. How do I understand the significance behind this repetition? How do I motivate myself to do it? Practical question. I remember once a conversation that a friend had with Sri Swamiji. The friend asked in very similar lines, the scriptures advise us, the saints advise us to chant the name, Ramnam, Mahamantras, or the names of Shiva, the names of God. I find it very repetitive. How is this really going to help me when I keep saying the same thing over and over again? Swamiji smiled and gave a reply which was quite thought-provoking for all of us who were listening to it. He said, let's leave the part where we talk about the repetition of the mantra. I will ask you, have you ever thought about what we do every single day in life? Don't we do the same things over and over again? Why do we not find that repetitive? From morning till night, till we go to bed. Many things that we do are in fact repetitive. From childhood, through the phase of growing up, and all the way through old age, it's the same set of things that are going to happen over and over again most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. Which is one of the reasons all of us are always looking to do something that's different. Something that we've never done before to break the routine. But we do the same things over and over again. But we go about it more often than not with a lot of interest. We pursue it with a lot of passion. And this question really does not come to us often. But when it comes to spiritual sadhana, when it comes to, say, Nama Sankirtan, this question comes to us. It's quite an irony, isn't it? Sri Swamiji asked. To think about it, yes, it is certainly true. I don't really think about everything that I do in my life every single day in that manner, not so often at least. But when it comes to the instructions of my Guru to repeat the Nama or the mantra, I say it's boring and I keep doing it over and over again. How is it really going to help? It certainly helps. I will tell you how. It reminds me of a conversation that once the great soul, father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhiji, had with a mathematician, a logician, a man of science. As we all know, the Mahatma was very fond of the Ram Nam. It was by the power of the Ram Nam, the penance, that he led from front and achieved the great things that the world will remember forever. This mathematician, man of logic and reasoning and science, asked him that, I understand when you say that repetition of this name, Ram Nam, is going to help a lot. I believe in you, but I fail to understand it from the point of view of logic or math, because I'm a person of numbers, logic. What interests a person like me the most is the possibility of a different outcome every single time. If it is going to be the same thing over and over again, I get bored when it comes to my area of expertise. Can you explain Nama Sankirtan, chanting the names in this context? The Mahatma said, the reason why you think this is a monotonous exercise is because you're making a huge assumption. You know what the assumption is? The assumption is you think that every single time you repeat, you chant, it is the same outcome. It is not so. Every single time you chant the divine name, you have changed. It has caused an impact in your being. And when you have changed, you have reached a different point, and you chant from there, you have changed again. And then from there you chant, you have changed again. Little by little, this process of change is going on. It's happening within you. It's just that at this point of time, it's not a tangible change, something that you are able to directly perceive and understand, which is why you think that it is the same outcome every single time. It is not. It is a different outcome. You have progressed forward. You have progressed a little bit more. You have been cleansed a little bit more with every single chant. As Swamiji would always put it, not a single nama that you chant goes waste. Everything causes a change, a profound change, and at one point of time it would become visible to you as well, he would always say. Because when we speak of devotion, when we speak of bhakti, it is said that that love for God, love for divinity, unconditional love, spontaneous love should come from the heart. How can that happen? I cannot force myself. I cannot squeeze my heart and pour the drops of love from it. That's not how it works. It has to happen on its own. As Swamiji would say, I cannot take a huge log of wood and threaten a lotus bud and say that you better open up now, you better blossom into a lotus. I cannot do it. That's not how it works. The sunlight has to come. It has to happen at the right moment. It blossoms on its own. That's how it happens. Likewise, it has to come on its own. If you look at it in that manner, that seems like the most difficult thing, isn't it? And then, how do I chant with that love, with that devotion, with that bhakti? If it is the most difficult thing to do, it has to happen on its own. It's not a mechanical thing to do. What I can do is repeat the name. Say this Mahamantra or Ramnam. Repeat it. That repetition, Guru Maharaj would say, is nothing but an expression of my intent. Even if I'm not focusing, even if I'm doing it with a lot of distraction, even if I don't feel a drop of love in my heart for God when I do it, still do it. It's an expression of intent. I want it. I'm making my intent loud and clear. And when I do that, at one particular point of time, like when the time is right for the lotus to blossom, God's grace will do its work on me, within me, and that love, that devotion would blossom on its own. It's like the example that the great Gurudev Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to mention. Well, speaking of a cow that's tethered to a particular point, once it finishes eating up the grass within that radius and starts pulling that tether in order to reach out to the grass that's outside the radius, the man comes and he loosens the rope a bit so that it can graze further. He would not do it if the cow is just sitting right there and not doing anything, not even eating the grass within its reach. It finishes it and tries to pull further. That is when he loosens the rope a little bit. So that is exactly what chanting the names will do. I need to keep doing it. And when I have finished and when I put that pressure, I'm expressing my intent, then grace will make that love to spring forth my heart. It will loosen the rope a little bit more, and that is how progress happens. So it's not just a mechanical repetition with the same outcome. There is a different outcome every single time, and I'm progressing towards God, towards divinity, towards the self with every single nama that I chant. Thank you for your patience. We will meet again in the next session of Answers and Beyond.